We do have some breaking news here on the internet. Sometimes the internet lies. Sometimes the internet makes some stuff up. You like for things to be official, but there is enough smoke around this that we will certainly talk about it here. The report coming from WWL, Christian Garrick, is reporting that Myles Brennan is walking away from football. The report from WWL says that Myles was informed he will not be the starting quarterback this fall at LSU, and that led to his decision to ultimately leave the team and leave the sport. Myles has been here for a very long time. We know that. It's been an up and down roller coaster, in and out ride for him, and it appears that the last stop has been made here, and he's going to decide that he's done with the sport, and LSU will move on without him. Your reaction to hearing that news today?
Yeah, man, it's definitely shocking. I was not expecting this, and I think, especially when you heard the news that he was, deciding to come back to LSU after he entered the transfer portal. I thought he was going to plant his flag in the ground and really try to, stick this quarterback competition out. But for Myles, it just seems like every unfortunate break has happened. Every chance he's been on the precipice of, being the starting quarterback for LSU. So being a guy who's been here for so long, you only wish great things for him. It's just so sad to see him never really get that true opportunity to start for a full season and kind of see, what his potential would be, because it's just crazy to think that, he got here during the Les Miles, Cam Cameron regime, but he's been here that long. And I think for Myles, it's just great to see him, happy to, do everything he's done for the state, but also, get away from football, because that's what he wants to do. But definitely wanted to see him get a chance, but, it looks like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, look, again, this is not official word from LSU. Myles hadn't sent out some sort of tweet indicating this. This is a report from WWL. Everybody now that has left practice and practice has ended, so it's okay to tweet, has said that, look, Myles was not at practice today. That's kind of everything pointing towards this. So kind of just a synopsis of Myles Brennan's time here in Baton Rouge. One of the top 10 quarterback prospects in the country coming out in 2017. He was a 4-star prospect based on every site's recruiting rankings. He was an Under Armour All-American. He was a participant in the opening in the Elite 11, and was a very, very highly sought after quarterback, and LSU brought him in. He was in a class that really had a huge part in the national championship team in 2019, as you would imagine. In that class that Myles came in, Jacoby Stevens, Caleb Von Chason, Austin Deculus, Tyler Shelvin, Jacob Phillips, Grant Delpit, Todd Harris, Kerry Vinson, of course, Myles, Ed Ingram, Sadiq Charles, Patrick Queen, Neil Farrell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Thomas, John Trey Kirkland, Torrey Carter, Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's about as good a signing class as you can put together in terms of the impact that those guys would go on to have. And Myles was one of the headliners in that class. And he comes in, and obviously Danny Etling is the starting quarterback. He played in 6 games in his first year there in 2017. He was asked to try to come in and save the day against Troy when they fell behind. Obviously, that game didn't go well. He played late in the game against Alabama as a freshman in 2017. Then in 2018, Joe Burrow shows up late, so Myles only sees action in one game. Then in 2019, he was the backup quarterback, saw some mop-up duty as LSU was blowing everybody out. And then you thought when Joe moved on that it would be Myles' time in 2020, and you get the freakish COVID situation. And then, of course, we know that Myles in his third start, after throwing for over 400 yards against Missouri, has that freakish injury that happens to his rib cage, and he's out the rest of that season. Sat out the entire year last year because of an injury off the field fishing, and never set foot on the field again. You would have thought it would be impossible after he finished the game against Missouri, throwing for better than 400 yards, that he would never play again at LSU, and that was in October of 2020, and he never did.
Yeah, no, that was unfortunate. And I think, going into that year, coming off the national championship, I think everyone really felt great about, Myles Brennan being the quarterback, and he got out to a phenomenal start. So you could project his numbers throughout a full season. It'd be, Maxwell-type numbers if he could have kept that type of pace. So I think you see why so many people here we're cheering for Myles and really wanting to see him really become the starting quarterback. It's just unfortunate that if it is the case that he's probably not going to be a football player anymore, it's just sad, because every break, that kid could get the wrong way, it kind of happens. So we all want the best for Myles. It's sad to see him go, but we'll keep cheering for him as he goes on.
For sure. It's look, I don't know if this is. Would you consider me getting this one right or getting this one wrong? I'll lay out my prediction. I said that I thought Myles would start the first game. Thought they would announce that the Thursday before the opener. I thought he would start the A&M game at the end of the season. That was my prediction when we went on the record with what we thought prior to camp even opening. But I also added that I thought that it was possible that he transferred out before the season started. So did I get that right or did I get that wrong?
I guess you kind of got it right. I mean, I guess neither one happened. He ended up not playing at all on any front. Yeah, but I think that's kind of been the track record for Myles. Is whenever he has gotten those opportunities for whatever unfortunate reason, it just hasn't come to fruition. So I think no one could have predicted this. This kind of threw a curveball for everyone.
Everybody says, why transfer? Why not stick it out at LSU and fight for the? I mean, we'll lay out all the possible. Why not sit and fight out for your job at LSU? If he's been told he's not going to be the starter, which is what the report says. Again, these are all reports that we're reacting to. There's some sort of badge of honor that goes into that. But Myles has been here for 5 seasons as not the starting quarterback. It's not like there's more for him to experience as a guy who's out there, on the bench cheering the guys on and coming out the tunnel and coming down Victory Hill. Like he's done it for 5 years now. And why don't you go somewhere else and play? Well, he is a grad student, so technically he could transfer without penalty, but you can't learn somebody's offense starting on August 15th and be the guy. You can't. It's not like he can just drop into Southern Miss's practice today and be the starting quarterback. I just don't think it's that easy to do. And then the other issue, why wouldn't you go to Southeastern or Nichols or McNeese and become the starting quarterback there? Yeah, okay, that's another. It's going to be tough to learn the offense. It's a step down in competition significantly. But the other part of this equation is that Myles Brennan is in his mid-20s. He's engaged to be married. He's finished his school at LSU. Sometimes it's just time to get on with it. And I don't know Myles. I haven't spoken to Myles. I have no sources on this. I'm just speaking with the information that I have, which is out front. That's how old he is. He's got a degree. He is engaged. He's told he's not the starting quarterback. Sometimes it's time to go start life.
Yes, I think for Myles, especially – doing everything he's done, I think winning a national championship too, which I think every kid's dream, you can knock that off the table for Myles too. So he accomplished that. And I think especially now at this point in his college career, if you're not going to be the starting quarterback now, it just makes the NFL just very, very unlikely. And if you're not going to be starting quarterback, what's the point of sitting out an entire year? You're probably not going to play professional football. So what are we doing here? So I think, like you said, he's done everything he can, especially as a backup quarterback at this level. If he wants to move on in this life, you really can't blame the kid.
Yeah, and so that's we'll see. We'll probably get more information as Myles either comes out with some sort of statement or tweet or Instagram post, or Brian Kelly meets with the media, or maybe LSU football releases some sort of statement. I don't know. None of that has happened as of this very second as we sit here 10 minutes after 12 o'clock on Monday. But the report is from WWL that Myles Brennan will no longer be on LSU's football team and will no longer be a football player of any kind here as he moves forward with the rest of his life. So certainly just really, really disappointing. You could have it's difficult to have envisioned that was the career trajectory for anyone, to have fought for a starting job and gotten beaten out by Danny Etling, and then fought for a starting job and getting beaten out by Joe Burrow, and then have the opportunity to be a starter and then have it taken away from an injury that no one's ever heard of, and then a couple of freshmen come in there and then think you're fighting for a job with Max Johnson, and then have the injury off the field happen where he breaks his arm. Just really, really disappointing. And so the question now, I guess you would consider that Myles Brennan came out of high school, started his career at LSU, and finished his career at LSU. I guess that did happen. So Jordan Jefferson, no longer the answer to that trivia question, the last high school quarterback to come in and finish his eligibility at LSU. Myles Brennan, I guess, takes that mantle from him 11 years later, but never really got a chance to be that starting quarterback after a 3-game stint during COVID.
No, never did. And I think that's why, it's just so sad to see guys like this. We've seen quarterbacks come here, hit the transfer portal. We've seen guys, come in here after, being at another school first, but for Myles to be here so long and never really get that chance to play a significant amount of football as a quarterback for LSU. It's just sad to see, but I think for Myles, if he's done with football, you got to support him in that decision and just cheer him on going forward.
And then there were 3. You figure you've got Jaden Daniels, you've got Garrett Nussmeier, you've got Walker Howard. Where do you think things sit here as we are we're 3 weeks from game day?
Yeah, I think Daniels is this thing. I think that's going to be who they trot out there now, especially with Myles not being in the picture. He's played the most football. And I think that's what this coaching staff is looking for, a guy who's going to go out there not too afraid of the moment, and if he can not turn it over. It'll give you a chance to win football games, and we know what he can do with his legs. So to me, it's pointing to Daniels, especially with Nuskin being a little banged up right now. I think it's going to be Daniels trotting out there against Florida State.
You've now got 3 quarterbacks on scholarship that do similar things. Jaden Daniels in a straight line sprint is the fastest of the three, but they're all good athletes. Jaden Daniels has got really good speed and is a good athlete. Garrett Nussmeier's got a lot of athleticism, quickness, awareness to him on the field. And I think Walker Howard doesn't get necessarily as much respect as he should for his athleticism. He's got some good athleticism as well. So, I think in a situation where, and a lot of this was brought up with Les Miles, when you look back at late in his tenure, the quarterbacks they continued to bring in, they just didn't do the same thing at all. Jordan Jefferson and Jarrett Lee were not the same at all. Russell Shepard and Chris Garrett came in and closed. They were not the same at all. You had Zach Mettenberger come in, who's nothing like Jordan Jefferson, who was playing before him, and you were constantly having guys with different skill sets come in, and it's better if you kind of tailor things to one type of player. And I think right now LSU's got athletic guys. I don't think any of them have an arm that looks like Zach Mettenberger's or Jamarcus Russell's back there, but you've got enough arm strength and plenty of athleticism back there. I think you can kind of run a Mike Denbrock offense where no matter who the quarterback is, while you're practicing and you're repping, you've kind of got the same type of guy out there.
Yeah, and I think that's why you kind of saw Myles start falling out of favor fairly quickly with what they want to do offensively, and that's probably get the defense on its heels with the quarterback and the run and the pass game, and then you mix a little RPO on top of that as well. And I think that's just something that I don't think Myles can do as high as the level as some of the other guys on the roster like you thought. So now you have a world where you can continue to recruit these type of guys. I think Ricky Collins fits that mold perfectly of what they're trying to do. And you can kind of just bring in guys that fit your system. And I think that's what Coach Kelly and Coach Denbrock are trying to do. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.